1. From Ivy429 to Ha Harry 70.
To my most precious love, Ha Harry 70. For the last 2 days, I have been looking for you, mon cher. You said you must talk over most urgent business, but I cannot come across you anywhere. You have promised to leave your wife, yet already neglect our future hearth. Yesterday, on the Facebook, someone made a funny post saying you were like a bird, always on the wing. Some followers wrote, haha, from genuine kindly feeling for you, but, joking apart, you have given me cause for disquiet. Another post said you might be walking along the river. I flew off to the Exeter to find you. It was funny and tragic. Me by the river with summer shoes, in the middle of January. New goulashes, pray tell, would be a godsend. You said our business is by no means suitable for email, so I beg you to meet me this afternoon at the edge of the forest at 3 o'clock. By the way, my love, since I have taken up my keyboard, I have another slight complaint. Last month, you forwarded a friend request from an acquaintance of yours, Yevniko 777. You vouched for him by your friendly and, for me, sacred recommendation. I rejoiced at the opportunity of receiving the young man as a Facebook friend with open arms, but it has turned out a pretty savory business. I have not time now to explain, and indeed it is an awkward thing to do in writing, only a very humble request. Could you delicately drop a hint into the young man's inbox that there are a great many friends to be had in the Facebook metropolis besides me? I will tell you all about it when we meet later at the edge of the forest at 3. It will give me real pleasure to at last see your face in person. I remain, etc.
2. From Ha Harry 70 to Ivy429.
Dearest Ivy429, I received your email yesterday and was perplexed. You looked for me by the river, and I was simply at home. At once on getting your note I set out and reached the forest edge about 2:30. You were not there. I waited until 4 o'clock, I could not stay later. I did not sleep well that night, I felt uneasy. In the morning I walked round to the edge of the forest 3 times, at 9, at 10 and at 11, 3 times, and again you left me in the lurch. I read your email again and was confused. You write about Yevniko 777, ask me to whisper some hint, and do not tell me what about. I commend your caution, but I do not forward emails of importance to my wife, especially from you. I only see that I must have a brief and decisive discussion with you, on this other matter, and, moreover, time is passing. As we are meant to run off together, to leave our respective spouses behind, then this other matter needs attention. Today's journey in search of you costs time. Oh, and about Yevniko 777. I hasten to mention that before recommending him as a friend, I saw he had 27 mutual friends on the Facebook. What more solid recommendation can there be? I find him quirky and of mirth, asking spontaneous questions like, my favorite color, or in what city did I meet my spouse? Harmless fun. But on this other most urgent matter, I beg you to appoint a place where we can meet. You say a post indicated I was at the river. That was untrue. And it shows how little these anonymous posts are to be trusted. Only the day before yesterday, an elaborate phishing scheme outdid 75 grandmothers of their life savings. But please, meet me at the forest edge, or the river dam at a time of your choosing. I have the honor to remain, etc.
3. From Ivy429 to Ha Harry 70.
My precious love, Ha Harry 70. I am to blame. 1,000 times to blame. But I hasten to defend myself. Yesterday afternoon, just as I was thinking of you with the warmest affection, a text from Uncle Stefan galloped to my inbox with the news that my aunt was very bad. Being afraid of alarming my husband, I did not say a word of this to him, but, on the pretext of other urgent business, I donned my new goulashes, thank you, and ran to my aunt's house. I found her almost dying. Just at 2 o'clock she had had a stroke, the third she has had in the last 2 years. Their family doctor told me that she might not live through the night. You can judge my position. I was on my legs all night in grief and anxiety. It was not till morning that, utterly exhausted and overcome by moral and physical weakness, I lay down on the sofa. I forgot to tell my watch to wake me, and only woke at 11:30. My aunt was better. I walked home, snatched a bite of something, and set off to meet you. You were not at the forest edge or the river dam. When I got home I took up the keyboard, and here I am writing to you. Don't grumble, and please don't be cross to me. Don't deprive me of your affection. From your Facebook I learned you will be at the forest edge again this evening. I will certainly be there. I look forward with the greatest impatience to seeing you. P.S. I'm in perfect despair about my little kitten. She coughs and yesterday threw up hairball after hairball. Where does she find it? I remain, etc.
4. From Harry 70 to Ivy 429.
Dear Ivy 429. I am writing to you, in our private chat, and have been waiting for more than 2 hours. From your last email, I gathered we would meet at the edge of the forest. I turned up. I stayed for 3 hours, and there was no sign of you. Am I to be made a laughing stock? I texted you this morning. I hoped to meet in our chat. Again, there is no sign of you. I don't know what restrains me from telling you now the whole harsh truth. I will only say that you seem to be taking advantage of my generosity. And only now, reflecting on the whole affair, I cannot but confess that I am absolutely astounded at what I suspect are the artful workings of your mind. This supposition of mine is confirmed by the fact that last week, in an almost unpardonable way, you accessed my account and transferred an amount in excess of the original sum we agreed upon, for our running away together. Our vows of devoted love aside, please know that I won't allow myself to be made a fool of. For no one has ever considered me one hitherto. You have tried to put me off, confuse me with talk of Yevniko 777, and when I seek a face-to-face, you make humbugging appointments. Perhaps you are reckoning on my reconciliation with my wife, and my departure to the summer retreat, and hoping I may not have time to settle our business? But I assure you solemnly, and testify on my word of honor, that if it comes to that, I am prepared to spend as much time as necessary to carry through our business, and to get hold of you. For I, too, on occasion, know how to get the better of people. In conclusion, I beg to inform you, that if you do not give me a satisfactory explanation, and for that matter, do not explain your views in regard to Yevniko 777, I shall be compelled to have recourse to measures that will be highly unpleasant to you, and indeed repugnant to me also. Allow me to remain, etc.
5. From Ivy 429 to Harry 70.
My precious love, Harry 70. I was cut to the heart by your email. I wonder you are not ashamed to behave like this, to your most devoted lover. Why be in such a hurry? And without explaining things fully, wound me with such insulting suspicions. But I hasten to reply to your charges. You did not find me yesterday, because I was suddenly and quite unexpectedly called away to a deathbed. My aunt passed away yesterday evening at 11 o'clock in the night. By the general consent of the relatives, I was selected to make the arrangements for the sad ceremony. I had so much to do that I had no time to chat you this morning, nor even to send you a text. I am grieved to the heart at the misunderstanding which has arisen between us. My Facebook friend question about Yevniko 777, uttered casually, and in jest, you have taken in quite a wrong sense. I also find him spontaneous, as when he, out of the blue, asked me the name of my first pet. It was endearing. You express your anxiety about money. But without wasting words, I am ready to satisfy all your claims and demands. Though I must remind you that the 3,500 I transferred from your account last week was in accordance with our agreement to run off with each other. Any other withdrawals I am not aware. Perhaps ask your wife. Although your email has deeply wounded me, I should be prepared, even today, to come to you and apologize. But I have been, since yesterday, in such a rush and flurry, that I am utterly exhausted. To complete my troubles, my husband is laid up. I'm afraid he is seriously ill. Our cat, thank God, is better. But I must lay down my keyboard. I have a mass of things to do, and they are urgent. Allow me, my dear love, to remain, etc.
6. From Harry 70 to Ivy 429.
Dear Ivy 429. I have been waiting for 3 days since my last email. I have neither by word, nor deed, reminded you of my existence. Partly, in order to allow you, undisturbed, to perform the duty of a relative, in regard to your aunt. And partly, because I needed the time for certain investigations in regard to a business you know of. I frankly confess that on reading your first 2 recent emails, I seriously supposed that you did not understand what I wanted. That was why I sought an interview and explanations face to face. I blamed myself for lack of clearness in the expression of my thoughts on email. But you understood me. You did not answer me as you should have done, because, in the treachery of your heart, you had planned beforehand to be faithless to the nearly intimate relations existing between us. From the very beginning of our acquaintance, you captivated me by your clever manners, by the subtlety of your behavior, your knowledge of affairs, and the advantages to be gained by association with you. However, I have learned, from bitter experience, how misleading appearances often are, and that a snake sometimes lies hidden under flowers. When every minute was precious to me and when you'd set me running after you all over the river and forest, you wrote of an intimate future, while intentionally avoiding all mention of the nest egg. And you spoke of utterly irrelevant matters, to wit, of the illness of your good lady, and of how your cat had been throwing up hairballs. You informed me that you were called away to your suffering aunt who had had a stroke, precisely at 5 o'clock, as you stated with shameful exactitude. Luckily for me, dear lady, in the course of these 3 days, I have succeeded in making inquiries and have learnt from other posts on the Facebook, that your aunt had a stroke on the day before you said. From this fact I see that you have made use of sacred family relations, in order to deceive persons in no way concerned with them. In every email you call me all sorts of intimate names, which you do, to the best of my belief, for no other object, than to put my conscience to sleep. And finally, your comments on our common Facebook friend, Yevniko 777. I know now, that every evening for the last fortnight, you've put into your pocket dozens, and sometimes even hundreds of rubles, playing online games of chance with Yevniko 777. Now in conclusion, If, dear lady, you do not in the shortest possible time after receiving this email, return to me, in full, the 3,500 I allowed you to withdraw, and the additional 3,500 you most recently withdrew, I will have recourse to every possible means to compel you to return it, even to open force. Secondly, to the protection of the laws. And finally, I beg to inform you, that I am in possession of facts, which, if they do not remain in the hands of your humble servant, may ruin and disgrace your name, in the eyes of the online world. Allow me to remain.
Seven. From Ivy429 to Ha Harry 70.
Ha Harry 70. When I received your vulgar, and at the same time, outlandish email, my impulse for the first minute was to delete it in the trash. I sincerely regret our misunderstandings and unpleasant relations. And I did not mean to answer you. But I am compelled by necessity. I must, in these lines, inform you that it would be very unpleasant for me to consider running away together, or even to see you on the Facebook at any time. My Instagram is off limits too, as my followers are of delicate sensibility, and the whiff of your presence will be upsetting to them. As for the galoshes you delivered me via Amazon Prime, I must regretfully inform you that they are nowhere to be found. They are still being looked for, but if they do not turn up, then I will buy you a new pair. I no longer have the honor to remain your devoted love.
Eight. On the 17th of November, Ivy429 received in her inbox 2 emails addressed to her. Opening the first, it was a short-form notification from Facebook.
Effective immediately, you, Ivy429, have been suspended from Facebook for having participated in fraudulent financial activity and for violating the Facebook terms and conditions.
The second email was from a bank in St. Petersburg.
This is to confirm wire transfer of your entire Granite State bank account into the St. Petersburg account of Yevnika 777 as per your authorization and his instruction.
9.
On the same day, Harry 70 had in his inbox 2 emails which said the exact same things. Along with a short notice. A gift certificate from Amazon for a new pair of galoshes.